Welcome back to the 25 Days of Flows, the Power Automate Advent Calendar. Happy holidays to you. We have reached day 25 of the 25 Days of Flows. I hope you've enjoyed this journey. These last 2 days have been focused on custom connectors because that was a big ask. And so I hope, even though some of these topics were advanced in nature, it still got a lot of you beginners kicked off so that you can make your own flows, all right? So, just a reminder, yesterday we did a flow that actually showed you the basis of how to do custom connectors. So, I suggest you check out yesterday's flow first if you have never done a custom connector. Also, to point out that that particular custom connector, I did simplify it slightly to remove those parameters completely. And I put those screenshots in the community post so that you could actually look at the screenshots and copy what I did for your own custom connector. However, I'm hoping that you get the why I'm doing things and not just what I'm doing as you learn this series. Now, today we're going to do part 2. And the reason being is that yesterday our connector didn't have more than one action, and it was very simple. It didn't even have any parameters. So we're going to build on what we did yesterday and create another connector, this time with 2 actions and some parameters. And basically, the combination of these 2 days should enable you to create something that you could scale to your business. Okay, so let's get started by reviewing our goal here. We're going to create a custom connector from scratch for cocktail recipes. And the API is the link here that you see on this screen, which I'll also put in the description. You may remember that, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I actually used this same API with an HTTP action in Flow. So it doesn't require you create a custom connector. You can most definitely use an HTTP action as well. But if you want to scale it so that everybody in your company could easily get cocktail recipes and they wouldn't need to know about HTTP, then this video will show you how to do that. Okay? Fortunately, this API does not require any special authorization, authentication, or keys. So you can just use it whoever you are. Okay? All right, let's go to Flow and let's get started on our last flow for the 25 days of flows. Unbelievable how time flies. Okay, so I'm going to go into my custom APIs, and just as a review from yesterday, here is that flow from yesterday. And that one was about kittens. And if we look at this one just briefly, you'll see that I simplified it. I took out the parameters and I just ran it straight with one action, and that one action had the request for a image of 200 by 300, and we didn't go into responses at all, and we didn't go into parameters at all. That was our very simple first connector. So now we're going to do a second connector, and this one's going to be based on this API here. You can do a search for the cocktail database, or you can use the link in the description, but you need to go to the API page of this site. And then you'll see a whole bunch of different things. And this is where we talk about, do we want to create actions, right? In order to create multiple actions, the API would have to support multiple actions. And so imagine that each one of these requests URLs actually are separate actions that we could use in our flows. And today we're going to use 2 of these actions. We're going to use search ingredient by name, and then we're going to do lookup full cocktails details by ID. Okay, so we're going to do both of those actions. All right, so let's go back to Flow, and we're going to start by clicking new custom connector, create from blank, and we're going to call this cocktail recipes. That's going to be the name of our connector. And then we're going to upload an icon for that. And I believe again, I went to PowerPoint. I love that PowerPoint has wonderful icons that I can reuse. Let's give it a color this time. So I'm just going to go to hex colors. Remember that the color that you choose for the background of your, excuse that, bing, 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 for the background of your action will also be the bar of your action. So it'll just give it a lighter shade, you know, so that when it looks at the action, the icon will have the color you chose, but then the whole row where you see the action name, that will have a shade lighter of that. And so what is this? This is look up cocktails and get recipes. I'll just start this. This connector will enable you to look up cocktails and get recipes. All right. And if we go get that URL, we're going to start with the URL for search by ingredient, search. I want to look for this one, search by ingredient. So this enables us to search for cocktails with a particular ingredient. And so then I'm going to go back to my flow page and paste that in here. But again, remember yesterday we learned that we just need to find out what the beginning is. Is it HTTPS or HTTP? Then we remove it from here. It's HTTPS. And we also remove everything else. Because if we don't, we're going to get this little error message because we cannot have slashes in this. This must be the host URL. Then as far as the base goes, it's everything. So subtract the host. And then everything except for parameters. All right. So this is a filter parameter here. I'm going to delete that. And that's base. Oh, I'm sorry. I need a slash in the front. Okay. And this is what gives me my base URL. It always starts and ends with a slash. Okay. Now I don't have any security here. Again, I'm keeping things simple. And then I have my ability to add actions. And now this time I actually have more actions possible because this API is offering me more options of what I can call. What requests can I make? And so I have more action capability here than I did on my first one. So I'm going to create a new action, and let's first, let's do list cocktails. I hope I spelled that right. Yeah, I did. By ingredient. And then here's the description. Gets a list of cocktails by desired ingredient. And then the operation ID, it just has to be unique. I'm going to do list cocktails. All right. Now, this request sample, we did this yesterday. We'll do it again. We're going to make sure we use the action that we're making. So I'm focused on this action right here. So I want to put an example. And it's lovely that they give me an example here. So I can just copy and paste that. And this will teach Flow how a request would look. All right. We don't need any headers either. Now here's an interesting thing though. It immediately points out that there's a query involved here. It knows there's a query that is identified by I. Now, I in Flow might not be understood, right? If I just leave that action saying I, they might not know what that means. So I can click on the three dots and hit edit. And now I can add what they will see in Flow, okay? Enter a single ingredient to search by. And I can even put a default value here to help them, right? So that they'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is what makes you more professional in your ability to produce content that is easy to assimilate. You're thinking about how people are going to see things, right? Because although you're that kind of person that loves to dig deep into these technical details, not everybody does, right? Not everybody wants to learn about HTTP APIs and stuff. So when you're helping your business take advantage of this wonderful, rich value, remember that to keep it simple for them, to make it easy for them to understand. All right. So don't change your parameter name because you'll break your request, because the request is expecting I, that's what it should get, I, right? But you can definitely tell people what this is and give them a default value if that helps as well. Okay, so now basically this is good. And I can go back now and hit my next action. So sometimes I like to save, but I'm going to be brave and keep going here. And my next action is get cocktail recipe. And the description is get cocktail recipe by cocktail ID number. And so this is cocktail recipe. Okay, so this is a little bit different. This action is related to this up here. Look up full cocktail details by ID. Okay, and again, it's giving me a sample ID number that I can use when I do my import from sample for the requests. Don't confuse these two. All right, and then I'm going to do get and I'm going to do paste. All right, so now I have that. Now on this action, it also says I. You can tell why it's important for you to clarify, right? So in this time, the I is the ID number. Enter the ID number of the cocktail, okay? And then the default value here, we're gonna actually go ahead and use their default value, which I think was 11007. Okay, it's just, it basically, the default values help the person kind of get what you're talking about. It's possible in this case they don't know what default IDs look like, but at least I'm going to give it a shot to give them that clarification. All right, and now I'm going to go back. All right, and now I want to talk about responses. Let's go back to the first one, list cocktails. And I'm going to go back to that list cocktails endpoint and filter. And I'm going to go to a brand new tab and I'm going to paste that in the tab. What that's going to do for me is actually it's going to make that request. Since this is a free API, I can just make that request directly in the browser. Then I can highlight this and this becomes a sample of what I can use to teach it what my response looks like. So down here at response, I make sure I'm at list cocktails because that's the one I just did. Making sure. Yes. So I go do that and then I'm going to go to the response area and click add default response. And in the body, I'm just going to paste what it gave me back. Here's the cool thing. Although nothing looks like it changed here, if I just click on this blue box here, you'll see that I got, these are the response that I'm going to get in flow. ID drink, and string drink thumbnail. So you do have the ability to edit these just like any other, but you don't get summaries sometimes. You don't get the same, it depends on what the API allows you to do. So in this case, I'm going to leave this response just the way it is. It's actually pretty challenging to try and change these parameters. So I wouldn't fiddle with them too much because they're needed also if you were to send another response that needs that thing. And again, maybe one day I'll go into, how you can customize what the API gives you back. There are limitations, but there are some capabilities that you have as well, okay? Flow does this every day, right? We're doing this when we have actions on top of logic apps expressions. So it's totally doable. I just want you to kind of learn this progressively before we get too deep, all right? So now we have a response for list cocktails. Notice it doesn't have the recipe. It has the ID, the drink name and a picture of the drink, the thumbnail of it. All right. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the recipe. And again, I'm going to go back to my API. I'm going to get that, look up full cocktails by recipe. And then I'm going to go into a browser window and paste that in there, which will give me back a response. So now I can take this response, go back to my flow, and go to the response section. Make sure you don't confuse request and response. You will make a mess. And when you make that mess, just delete that connector and start over, okay? Because it's just way easier to just start over. All right, so I'm just going to paste this response in there, which is a sample response on that recipe story. Okay, now, again, nothing's going to happen after you hit OK. But if you click into this triangle, this rectangle right here, it will show you all the things that you'll get. So you'll get the date the recipe was modified, the ID, the category of the drink, the thumbnail, but you'll also get the ingredients of the drink, the measures, and most importantly, the instructions on how to make the drink. All right, this is that tag right there. So recognize that you can delete any of these if you don't want them, right? You can also just press edit and get rid of any of these you don't want, but I'm going to keep them all. Again, we'll get into customizing what you can do with an API some other day, all right? We just want to get a good foundation on how to make one. All right, so now I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to create the connector. Now, remember from yesterday that you can't test right away. I can't hardly explain this, but you should attempt to test, which will, basically I do so just to make sure I have the connection available. I click on new connection, and now I'm connected. Now I can test cocktails or cocktail recipes. So now because I have two operations, I actually have two abilities to test. For each operation, I will be able to test. So gin, let's see if this works. Oh, we actually got it. It worked right away. You can see it gave us back drinks that contain gin. Ice something about 3 Mile Long Iced Tea, 69 Special, A1, Abbey Cocktail, Ace, Adam and Eve. These are all, so that was fast. And then we're going to go up here and try the cocktail. And we put defaults in here. This is why it's got something filled in. If you don't put a default, it won't fill anything in, right? And I'm going to do test on that. And look, we got that too. Again, most important thing is this instructions that I'm going to use. That is really cool. All right. So I'm happy. I got 2 check marks green really fast. I don't think I've ever got it that fast. Okay, so that flow is in good shape. I don't really need to click update anymore. I'm just going to close. And then you'll see I have my new connector. So let's make a flow with my new connector. So we'll do new instant. We'll go drinks test. And then we'll just go in here and look for drinks. Did I call it drinks or did I call it cocktails? What did I call it? Cocktail. Now, if you notice here, I've got 1 action and not 2. Oh, there it goes. It kicked in. So it must have had, it must have still been working on the second one. Let's try that again, because we should actually see both actions come up. Let's try again. Cocktails, or I'll just do cocktail. There we go. And you see we have the 2 actions. We didn't make a trigger, so we don't have any, but we got 2 actions. Get cocktail. And notice that each of them have their names, but they have the connector name directly under them. This is the connector area, and this is the actions and triggers area. If I click one of these, let's get cocktails by ingredient first. And it says what I typed. Enter a single ingredient to search. So let's change it to vodka for fun. All right, let's save. What can I do with these drinks? Wonder if we can create an HTML table. Yes, I will tell you a secret about me that you might not know. I do not script these videos. I'm actually doing them live with you. And so when you see me troubleshooting, I'm troubleshooting for the first time because I do these things live with you. All right, I want to see what I get out of this. Oh, I get a good amount of things. So I can get the ID of the drink. Let's get that. And these are the things that we saw in the response screen. By the way, ID of the drink, the drink name. So let's do this better because these are headers. ID, drink name. And yes, we know you can't put a space there. There's our drink name. And then I think that's good enough. I don't really need anything else. All right, so now I've got the HTML table. So I could send this as an email to somebody, but this will help me test, right? So I'm going to go ahead and test and perform the trigger action. So for every action or trigger that you make, you want to test them, not only in the custom connector UI, but you want to test them in the context of a flow to make sure that they work well for the business. Because just because they work well as a custom connector doesn't mean they're going to work in a standard situation, right? So you have to kind of test it in a situation. So here you can see that the drinks that have vodka in it, very neatly outlined here in this HTML table. And so this gives us some ID numbers. And I have a couple of ways to do this. Either I can just remember this ID number, and for now I will do that. Then I'll show you the next higher level way to do this, okay? Let's add our other action. Get cocktail recipe. Oh, it has a default, so I didn't have to remember anything. So I just want to test it with that default, but notice it says enter the ID number of the cocktail. That's what I typed, right? So I'm making an action or a set of actions that work really well for my business. And so I use words that are in English that make it easy for them to figure out what to do. And so it's gotten the recipe, so this is working fine. Let's use a compose to pull out the instructions, right? So we'll do compose, and here we'll pull out the instructions. So get cocktail recipe is the action. Look at my action over here with its own icon and stuff. Are we like too proud of me today? Give myself a little pat on the back. All right, so my recipe is string instructions. What is exciting about this to me is that I know if I can do this, you can do this. Okay? If I can do this, you can do this. Because I'm no genius, right? I'm just a regular old power user like most of you. All right, so I'm going to save and test. We shouldn't get any errors. Okay, it's running through all the cocktail that came out of this action. And so I love apply to each because it lets you next your way through all of the different drinks. But we only had one. And so here's the instructions. Run the rim of the glass. You want me to take it out? Where can I put it to make it easier for you to read? Let's add one more step and send a... No, let's not send an email. What should we do? A Teams message? How about that? How about just for fun, right? Post a message to this channel. Let's use that one we were using earlier. And we'll just put it in the general channel. I don't know why I like to play with Teams so much. All right, and then I'm going to put the answer. Well, that may be multiple, so I might have to do first. So if I do instructions here, okay, it's going to put me into an apply for each. And you know what? I'm okay with that because there's only one anyway, right? And then I'm going to make sure yes. All right, so everything is there. Let's test this. There's only one recipe here. I could have used first to avoid the apply to each, but it's not worth it just because there's only one. All right, so this is going to run. It's going to run fairly quickly. We're going to try to open up, it's all good. We're going to open up Teams. Make sure that we're logged into Teams. I'm going to use the web app. And we were going to Adaptive Cards General. Looks like something was recently posted. And there's our recipe right there. You see it down here? Rub the rim of the glass with the lime slice to make the salt stick to it. Take care to moisten, etc. So fine, we did a wonderful job. Of course, we might want to have told them something. Let's say here, let's do here. This is a great cocktail recipe named, and then here I'm going to put the name of the drink. You can make it too. All right, and here are the instructions. Of course, if I use an adaptive card, I could also put an image on here. So really cool stuff. And then I'll put the name of the drink as the title as well. Drink, and maybe let's see what the category is. All right, so now we've got all of that. I can even highlight this piece and bold it. Let's test this, see what it does. So we used both of our new actions in this flow. We used our list cocktails by ingredient and our get cocktail recipe. We used the parameters in these to help our consumers get what they want. We even integrated onto Teams. This is an ordinary drink category. It's a margarita, and it has everything you need. I hope this makes your holidays even more bright. I hope you're surrounded by people you love and that you have the warmth of the spirit of this season. It has been my immense pleasure to provide for you these 25 days of flows in the Power Automate Advent Calendar. And I look forward to seeing you next year. So Happy New Year to you. I'm going to be out on vacation until the first week of January, but I'll be seeing you soon. You take care now. Happy holidays.